Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a very recent and tragic event, the crash of Air India flight AI-171.
Yes, a really difficult one.
Absolutely. Our mission here is to quickly walk you through the key details, what the investigators are finding preliminarily, and the sort of wider impact we're drawing straight from the source material provided.
Right. The idea is to get you up to speed on a complex story that's still unfolding.
Exactly. It's amazing how fast things move initially, isn't it?
It really is. Investigators jump on clues immediately, and the whole aviation world reacts, even while, the full story isn't clear yet.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're talking about Air India flight AI-171. It was a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, tail number VTANB.
That's the one.
It crashed shortly after taking off from Ahmedabad on June 12th, 2025.
Huh.
It was heading to London Gatwick, but sadly went down near the airport.
And the human cost is just staggering. On the plane, there were 242 people, 230 passengers, 12 crew.
Yeah.
And tragically, 241 of them died on board. But the tragedy extended to the ground, too.
That's right. It hit a building.
It struck a hostel at the BJ Medical College. Over 30 people on the ground were killed, and more than 60 others were injured. Just horrific.
It's hard to even comprehend that scale of loss, but there was, incredibly, one survivor from the plane.
Yes, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, a British Indian passenger. Remarkably, he only sustained relatively minor injuries.
How did that happen?
Reports suggest he was seated in an exit row, which might have played a part. And quite movingly, he was later able to attend his brother's funeral, even helping carry the coffin.
A testament to resilience, really. So the big question then is why? What are the first clues telling investigators?
Well, a really crucial early find was the ram air turbine, the RAT.
Ah, the emergency power unit.
Exactly. It's a backup system. And investigators found it had deployed during the descent.
Okay, and what does that deployment signify?
It's a major signal. The RAT typically only deploys if there's a loss of primary power sources. So like both engines failing or a massive electrical system failure.
Wow, so that really points to something catastrophic happening quite early on. Is that the main theory now?
It's certainly a strong indicator. Experts are looking hard at either a dual-engine failure or maybe a severe hydraulic malfunction.
Okay.
And apparently the cockpit voice recordings captured a Mayday call. The crew mentioned losing thrusts.
A loss for us?
Yeah. Plus, things like the flaps and landing gear remaining down those settings are also under intense scrutiny. It helps piece together what the crew might have been trying to do.
Trying to get back, perhaps? Or just total loss of control?
Exactly. It all points towards a severe power or control issue very, very soon after takeoff.
That must have been incredibly difficult for the crew. What about the black boxes? Have they been recovered?
Yes, thankfully. Both the flight data recorder, the FDR, and the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, were recovered from the wreckage.
Good. So they're being analyzed now.
They are. India's AAIB, that's the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, is leading the analysis. They're getting support from the UK, the US, and also Boeing and GE, the engine maker.
Right, a global effort. Any timeline on findings?
They're saying a preliminary report might be out in about 3 months, but the full detailed analysis, that could easily take over a year. These things are incredibly complex.
Understandable. It takes time to get the full picture. But even without the final conclusions, what's the immediate fallout? How's the industry reacting, particularly in India?
Well, the response has been pretty significant. India's aviation regulator, the DGCA, has ordered expanded checks on Air India's entire fleet of Boeing 787s.
The whole fleet. How many is that?
33 Dreamliners. Now, so far, they haven't found any systemic fleet-wide faults with the planes themselves.
Okay, that's somewhat reassuring.
It is. But they have flagged some issues within Air India concerning maintenance and dispatch coordination. That's led to quite a bit of disruption, at least 66 wide-body flights canceled.
So it's putting Air India and maybe Boeing under more scrutiny.
Definitely. Air India's big modernization drive under Tata is under the microscope. And yes, Boeing too. Boeing's leadership actually flew to India personally to address the concerns.
Right. So broader safety measures. What's being done now to, learn from this and enhance safety going forward?
India's aviation ministry has moved quickly. They've called for nationwide emergency drills. I think they're set for June 30th, focusing on disaster response.
Makes sense.
And there's a push for stronger oversight of training, plus just generally ramping up safety protocols across airports. You have to remember, this is India's deadliest crash in about a decade.
And it's the first fatal crash for the Dreamliner itself, isn't it?
Globally, yes. The first fatal loss of a Boeing 787 since it entered service back in 2011. So it's a really significant event for global aviation safety analysis.
So, to recap for you, a truly heartbreaking accident, huge loss of life on the plane and ground. The investigation seems to be focusing strongly on a major power or engine system failure right after takeoff.
That's the core of it, yes.
And we're seeing immediate, widespread responses inspections, operational changes at Air India, and a national focus on safety drills and protocols in India.
Absolutely. And it really underscores how, even from the most awful events, the aviation industry learns and adapts. It's a constant process of trying to make things safer.
A crucial point. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, maybe a final thought for you listening.
Yeah, perhaps think about what it means to grasp the complexity here. It's not just the immediate tragedy, but understanding that whole chain of events and how these global systems are constantly evolving, learning from incidents like this, all aimed at enhancing safety for every single flight you take. It's a stark reminder of why that continuous effort is so vital.